The proposal happened on a Tuesday. Not exactly the stuff of fairy tales, but Judah has never been one for grand gestures, just perfect ones. Gwen, look up! I was buried in a romance novel, sitting cross legged on the rooftop of our favorite used bookstore. The sun was setting behind the city skyline, painting everything golden, and I was completely lost in someone else's happy ending when his voice pulled me back to reality. My name is Gwendolyn, by the way. 29 years old, size 16 on a good day, and apparently about to have the most important moment of my life interrupted by whatever Judah wanted to show me in the sky. If this is about that weird cloud formation again, I started, but the words died when I saw him. He was on one knee, actually on one knee, holding a ring box that looked like it had been burning a hole in his pocket for weeks. Oh my God! The book tumbled from my hands. Gwen, his voice was steady, but I could see his hands shaking. I've been carrying this around for 2 months, waiting for the perfect moment. Then I realized every moment with you is perfect. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, could only stare at this man who'd somehow decided I was worth forever. You make me laugh when I'm stressed. You cry at dog videos. You steal my hoodies and look better in them than I ever did. He opened the box, revealing a vintage emerald ring that was so perfectly me it hurt. You're brilliant and kind, and you see beauty in everything, especially things other people overlook. Judah, marry me, Gwen, not because you're supposed to, or because it's time, or because anyone expects it. Marry me because I can't imagine loving anyone the way I love you. I said yes before he finished talking. Of course, I said yes. I'd been saying yes to this man in my heart for 3 years. The ring fit perfectly. He'd somehow figured out my size without me knowing, probably by sneaking one of my other rings to the jeweler. As he slipped it onto my finger, I felt something I'd never experienced before, the absolute certainty that I was exactly where I belonged. We kissed as the sun disappeared behind the buildings, and for exactly 17 minutes I was the happiest woman alive. Then I made the mistake of calling my mother. Mom, I have amazing news. Oh? Her voice had that cautious tone she used when she suspected I was about to disappoint her. What is it, dear? Judah proposed. We're engaged. Silence, long enough that I checked to see if the call had dropped. Mom? Well, she cleared her throat. That's sudden. We've been together for 3 years. Yes, but Gwendolyn, honey, don't you think you should wait a bit? Get yourself together first? The happiness started leaking out of me like air from a punctured balloon. Get myself together? You know what I mean. Lose some weight, get in shape. A wedding is such an important day. You want to look your best in the photos. I stared at my reflection in the bookstore window. Even in the dim light, I could see myself clearly, the woman Judah had just asked to marry him. The woman he thought was perfect exactly as she was. I look fine, Mom. Of course you do, sweetheart, but think about the dress shopping, the photos, all those people looking at you. Wouldn't you feel more confident if you slimmed down first? Just 20 or 30 pounds? Before I could respond, I heard my sister's voice in the background. Is that Gwen? Did she finally get engaged? Yes, but put her on speaker. Suddenly, I was talking to both of them, and somehow that made everything worse. Congratulations. Bee's voice was bright and fake. How exciting. When's the wedding? We haven't set a date yet. Good. That gives you time to prepare. Get wedding ready. There's still time to get in shape and not embarrass yourself. The words hit like a slap. Not embarrass myself. As if my existence at my own wedding would be an embarrassment. I should go, I managed. We're just trying to help, honey, Mom said. We want you to have the perfect day. I hung up and sat there on the rooftop, staring at my beautiful ring while their words echoed in my head. 29 years of this. 29 years of being told I wasn't quite right, wasn't quite enough, wasn't quite worthy of taking up space in my own life. Judah found me there an hour later, still sitting in the dark. How'd they take it? He asked, settling beside me. I looked at him, this man who saw me as I was and loved me anyway, and felt something shift inside me. Something that had been bent and broken for years suddenly snapping back into place. They won't see this coming, I whispered. Tell me what they said, word for word. Serenity was pacing around my apartment like a caged tiger, her dark curls bouncing with each angry step. I'd called her immediately after the rooftop disaster, and she'd shown up 20 minutes later with wine and murder in her eyes. They said I should lose weight before the wedding, I said, twisting the engagement ring around my finger, that I'd embarrass myself otherwise. Those absolute. She caught herself, took a breath. Okay, what did Judas say when you told him? I haven't told him yet. She stopped pacing. Gwen, what am I supposed to say? Hey, honey, my family thinks you're settling for a fat girl? You're supposed to say your family are toxic assholes who don't deserve you. She sat down hard on my couch. This isn't new, Gwen. Remember your cousin's wedding? I winced. How could I forget? B had convinced Mom that I shouldn't be in the family photos because I'd throw off the aesthetic. I'd spent the entire reception sitting alone at a table in the back, watching everyone else celebrate. Or your graduation party, Serenity continued. When your mom suggested I take the photos from your good side only. She was trying to be helpful. She was being cruel. They all were. Serenity grabbed my hands. Gwen, you've been making excuses for them your entire life. When does it stop? Before I could answer, Judah walked in from the kitchen carrying 2 mugs of tea. He'd been giving us space to talk, but I could tell from his expression he'd heard enough. What's this about your family? He handed me a mug and sat down beside me. I looked between him and Serenity, both of them waiting for me to be honest. They think I should postpone the wedding until I lose weight. Judah's jaw tightened. They said that? Not in those exact words. What were the exact words? I repeated the conversation, watching his face grow darker with each detail. When I got to B's comment about not embarrassing myself, he set his mug down so hard tea sloshed onto the coffee table. That's it. We're not having a big wedding. What? If they can't celebrate you as you are, they don't get to be there at all. He turned to face me fully. Let's elope. Just us. Somewhere beautiful. Somewhere they can't ruin it with their poison. Serenity clapped her hands together. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Can you imagine their faces when they find out they missed it? I can't just exclude my family from my wedding, I said, but even as the words came out, I felt a little thrill at the idea. Why not? Judah asked. They've been excluding you from everything else? That's different. Is it? Serenity leaned forward. Gwen, when was the last time they included you in something without making you feel like you had to earn it? When was the last time they made you feel wanted instead of tolerated? I opened my mouth to argue, then closed it, because I couldn't think of a single time. They made their choice, Judah said quietly. They chose their image over your happiness. Now you get to choose yours. But where would we even go? Anywhere. His eyes lit up. Italy, Greece, that little inn in Vermont you're always talking about. Wherever makes you happy. Italy, I said without thinking. Positano, I've always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast. Then that's where we'll go. He kissed my forehead. Just us and whoever actually loves you enough to celebrate you. Serenity raised her hand. Maid of honor, reporting for duty. I'll start looking at flights tonight. This is crazy, I said, but I was smiling for the first time since the phone call. The best things usually are, Judah said. After he went to bed, Serenity and I stayed up planning. She pulled out her laptop and started researching wedding photographers in Italy while I made a list of everything we'd need. You know they're going to lose their minds when they find out, she said, scrolling through portfolio websites. Good. The word surprised me with its vehemence. Maybe it's time they learned that their approval isn't required for me to be happy. There's my girl, Serenity grinned. So, beach ceremony or cliffside? Cliffside. I want the whole world to see. Perfect. And Gwen? She looked up from the laptop. For what it's worth, I think this is the bravest thing you've ever done. I stared at the engagement ring catching the lamplight, thinking about all the years I'd spent trying to shrink myself to fit their expectations. All the times I'd apologized for taking up space, for wanting things, for existing in a body they found inconvenient. Book the photographer, I said, and make sure they do video too. I want everything recorded. Why video? I smiled, and for the first time in years, it felt dangerous. You'll see. The dress arrived 3 days before we left for Italy. I'd found it online, a vintage inspired gown with delicate lace sleeves and a flowing skirt that made me feel like I was floating. When I tried it on in my bedroom, Serenity actually gasped, Gwen! Oh my God, Gwen! Is it too much? I turned in front of the mirror, watching the fabric catch the light. It's perfect. You look like a goddess. Judah knocked on the door. Can I see? No! Serenity and I shouted in unison. Bad luck, I called through the door. Fine, but I'm dying over here. The anticipation is killing me. I smiled at my reflection. For the first time in my life, I looked exactly how I wanted to look on my wedding day. Not smaller, not different, just me, but elevated. The flight to Italy felt surreal. Judah held my hand during takeoff, both of us grinning like teenagers running away from home. Serenity sat across the aisle, already planning shots with Marco, the photographer we'd hired. The golden hour there is supposed to be incredible, she was saying. And Marco says there's this spot on the cliffs where you can see the entire coastline. Perfect, I said, watching clouds drift past the window. I want it to look like a fairy tale. It will, Judah squeezed my hand, because it is one. When we landed in Naples, Marco met us at the airport. He was exactly what I'd hoped for: artistic, enthusiastic, and completely unfazed by our unconventional timeline. Ah, the beautiful bride. He kissed both my cheeks. We will make magic tomorrow, yes. The weather is perfect. The light will be divine. Our hotel in Positano was perched on the cliffside, all white stone and bougainvillea. From our balcony, I could see the ceremony spot Marco had chosen, a small terrace overlooking the Mediterranean, framed by lemon trees. This is it, I whispered to Judah as we watched the sunset paint the water gold. This is where we're getting married. No regrets? He asked. None. The morning of the wedding, I woke up to Serenity singing off key in the shower and the smell of espresso drifting up from the hotel cafe. For a moment, I felt a pang. No mother helping me into my dress, no sister doing my makeup, no family bustling around with nervous energy. Then Serenity emerged from the bathroom in a robe, her hair in rollers, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Good morning, Mrs. Thomas to be. Ready to have the most beautiful day of your life? More than ready. She'd brought a professional makeup artist, Lucia, a local woman who spoke broken English but had magic hands. As she worked on my face, Serenity played music from her phone and told stories about all the weddings she'd been to that were disasters. Remember Jessica's wedding? The groom's ex showed up drunk and tried to object during the ceremony. At least that won't happen here. I laughed. Nope, just you, Judah, and paradise. The way it should be. When Lucia finished my makeup, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized myself. Not because I looked different, but because I looked happy. Genuinely, radiantly happy. Now for the dress, Serenity said. She helped me into it carefully, fastening each tiny button along the back. When I turned around, she had tears in her eyes. Gwen, you're stunning. Don't make me cry. You'll ruin Lucia's work. I'm serious. You look like you're glowing from the inside out. Marco knocked on the door. Ladies, we are ready when you are. The ceremony spot was even more beautiful than I'd imagined. White chairs arranged in a small semicircle, an arch of white flowers and greenery, and beyond it all, the endless blue of the Mediterranean. Judah was waiting at the altar in a navy suit, his hair slightly mussed by the sea breeze. When he saw me walking down the makeshift aisle, his face lit up like sunrise. You're perfect, he whispered when I reached him. So are you. The officiant was a local English speaking minister Marco had recommended. He kept the ceremony simple and heartfelt, letting us speak our own vows. Gwen, Judah began, his voice steady despite the tears in his eyes, you are the bravest person I know. You love fiercely, you laugh loudly, and you make everyone around you better just by being yourself. I promise to love you exactly as you are, for exactly who you are, for the rest of my life. My turn. I looked out at the small gathering: Serenity, Marco with his camera, Lucia dabbing at her eyes, 2 other hotel guests who'd asked if they could watch. Judah, you see me, really see me, not who I could be or should be, but who I am right now in this moment. You make me feel worthy of love, worthy of happiness, worthy of taking up space in this world. I promise to never let anyone make me forget that again. You may kiss the bride, the minister said. Judah cupped my face in his hands and kissed me as Marco's camera clicked and the waves crashed below us. When we broke apart, I looked directly into the video camera Marco had set up. To all the people who said this day wouldn't come, I said, my voice carrying on the sea breeze, watch carefully. Then I threw my bouquet high into the air, watching it arc against the brilliant blue sky before landing in Serenity's waiting hands. 2 weeks after we returned from Italy, I sent the email. I'd spent hours crafting it, making sure every word was perfect. Serenity sat beside me on the couch, reading over my shoulder as I typed. Subject: Important family gathering. Your presence requested. She read aloud. Ooh, very formal, very mysterious. That's the point. I hit send before I could second guess myself. The email was simple. Dear family, I hope this message finds you well. I would like to invite you to an important family gathering this Saturday evening at the Grand Meridian Hotel. Cocktail attire requested. All expenses will be covered. Please RSVP by Thursday. There's something significant I need to share with all of you. With love, Gwen. My phone started ringing within an hour. Gwen, honey, what's this about? Mom's voice was cautious, like she was approaching a wild animal. Just a family gathering, Mom. Nothing to worry about. But the Grand Meridian? That's Anton's hotel. That's so expensive. I said expenses are covered. But why? What's the occasion? I smiled at Serenity, who was making exaggerated, curious faces. You'll find out Saturday. Is this about the engagement? Are you finally ready to plan a proper wedding? Something like that. Oh, wonderful. I knew you'd come to your senses. Should I call the country club about catering options? Let's just see how Saturday goes first. After I hung up, Serenity shook her head. She thinks you're surrendering. Perfect. The next call was from B, predictably. Gwen, what's this mysterious gathering about? Mom thinks you're planning some kind of engagement party. Maybe I am. At the Grand Meridian? That seems a bit ambitious for you. I bit my tongue. I thought it would be nice to do something special. Well, I suppose it's about time. Ian and I were wondering when you'd start taking this seriously. Have you thought about a wedding planner? I know someone who specializes in challenging situations. Challenging how? You know, budget constraints, venue limitations, that sort of thing. Serenity grabbed the phone from me. Hi, B. It's Serenity. Just wanted to let you know that Gwen's situation is anything but challenging. See you Saturday. She hung up before B could respond. You're going to blow our cover, I laughed. Worth it. Did you hear her? Challenging situations. I want to challenge her face with my fist. By Thursday, everyone had RSVP'd yes. Mom, B, and Ian, Uncle Anton, even Kendra, Mom's best friend, who somehow always ended up at family events. The only person I was genuinely excited to see was my cousin Delaney. She called Thursday night. Gwen, what are you up to? What do you mean? This whole mysterious gathering thing, it's not like you. Delaney was the only family member who'd ever defended me. When B made snide comments about my weight, Delaney shut her down. When Mom suggested I skip family photos, Delaney insisted I be included. Can you keep a secret? I asked. Always. Judah and I got married in Italy 2 weeks ago. Silence, then, holy shit, Gwen. Really? Really? And Saturday is, let's call it a viewing party. She laughed. Actually laughed. You magnificent, devious woman. They have no idea. Do they? None whatsoever. This is going to be incredible. Can I bring popcorn? Just bring yourself. And maybe prepare for some family drama. Honey, I live for family drama, especially when it involves them getting their comeuppance. Friday, I spent the day at the Grand Meridian with the event coordinator, a woman named Patricia who specialized in unique celebrations. So, you want the ballroom set up theater style? She asked, making notes on her tablet. Exactly. Chairs facing the projection screen, and make sure the sound system is perfect. I want everyone to hear every word. And the catering? Wedding cake, 3 tiers, vanilla with raspberry filling, and champagne. She looked up from her notes. Just cake and champagne? Trust me, it's thematic. And the video presentation? 30 minutes. I'll have the file ready tomorrow morning. That evening, Judah and I sat in our living room watching the wedding footage on his laptop. Marco had outdone himself. Every moment was captured in stunning detail: the ceremony, the vows, the kiss, the celebration dinner afterward. Are you sure about this? Judah asked as we watched ourselves cut the cake on screen. Completely. It's going to change everything, with your family. Good. It's time for things to change. He closed the laptop and pulled me close. I love you, Mrs. Thomas. I love you too, Mr. Thomas. Saturday morning, I woke up with butterflies in my stomach. Not nervous butterflies, excited ones. Like Christmas morning, but better. Serenity arrived at noon with a garment bag. What's that? Your outfit for tonight. Something that says, I'm successful, I'm happy, and I don't need your approval. She pulled out a midnight blue dress that hugged every curve perfectly. It's perfect, I breathed. I know. Now let's go make some people very uncomfortable. As we drove to the hotel, I felt something I'd never experienced before: complete and total control over my own narrative. Ready? Serenity asked as we pulled into the valet parking. I've been ready my whole life. The Grand Meridian's ballroom looked perfect. Elegant chairs arranged in neat rows facing a massive projection screen. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light over everything, and the scent of white roses filled the air. I stood at the back of the room, watching my family filter in. Mom arrived first, wearing her best pearls and that smile she reserved for public appearances. She surveyed the setup with obvious confusion. Gwen, darling, this looks more like a presentation than a party. It is a presentation, in a way. Bee swept in next with Ian, both of them dressed like they were attending a charity gala. She air kissed my cheek, her eyes scanning the room critically. Very theatrical? Is this some kind of slideshow about wedding planning? Something like that. Uncle Anton appeared at my elbow, his hotel owner instincts kicking in. Everything looks wonderful, Gwen, though I have to say this is an unusual setup for an engagement party. Who said it was an engagement party? Before he could respond, Kendra arrived in a cloud of expensive perfume, followed by Delaney, who caught my eye and winked. Well, this is mysterious, Kendra announced to the room. What's all this about, Olive? I'm not entirely sure, Mom admitted, smoothing her skirt. Gwen's been very secretive. Judah squeezed my hand. He looked incredible in his dark suit, the same one he'd worn in Italy. You ready for this? More than ready. I walked to the front of the room, my heels clicking on the marble floor. Everyone turned to look at me, their faces expectant. Thank you all for coming, I began, my voice steady. I know you're wondering why I asked you here tonight. We certainly are, Bee said with a tight smile. This is all very dramatic, even for you. I wanted to share something important with the people who matter most to me. I paused, looking at each of their faces. Something I think you'll find illuminating. I nodded to Patricia, who dimmed the lights and started the projector. The screen flared to life with the opening shot, a sweeping aerial view of the Amalfi Coast, golden cliffs dropping into impossibly blue water. The room fell silent. Then my voice filled the space, recorded 2 weeks ago on that cliff top. Judah, you see me. Really see me. Mom's hand flew to her throat. What is this? The camera panned to show me in my wedding dress, radiant and confident, speaking my vows to Judah. The footage was breathtaking. Marco had captured every detail, every emotion, every perfect moment. Oh my God, Bea whispered. The video continued. Our first kiss as husband and wife, the celebration dinner, me laughing as Judah fed me cake, the toast Serenity gave, calling us the most beautiful couple I know. You got married, Mom said, her voice hollow. You got married without us. I did. I kept my eyes on the screen, watching myself throw the bouquet into the Italian sky. When? Ian demanded. 2 weeks ago, in Positano. The room erupted. How could you do this? Mom's voice cracked. We're your family. Are you? I turned to face them, the wedding video still playing behind me. Because families usually celebrate each other's happiness. They don't tell the bride she needs to lose weight before she's worthy of a wedding. B stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. You're being completely dramatic. Sit down, B. Something in my voice made her freeze. For the first time in our lives, I wasn't backing down. You told me I'd embarrass myself, I continued. That I should wait until I was thin enough to deserve a wedding day. So I had my wedding day. Without you. Gwen, honey, we were just trying to help, Mom started. By telling me I wasn't good enough as I am? The video reached the final scene, me looking directly into the camera, bouquet in hand. To all the people who said this day wouldn't come, watch carefully. I picked up a remote and paused the image on my face, frozen in that moment of pure defiance and joy. That was for you, I said quietly. All of you. Waiters appeared as if on cue, wheeling in a three-tiered wedding cake identical to the one in the video. They began serving slices to the stunned guests. Uncle Anton was the first to find his voice. Gwen, this is quite a shock. Is it? You've all been telling me for years that I wasn't wedding material. I decided to prove you wrong. Delaney started clapping, slowly at first, then faster, until the sound echoed through the ballroom. Brava, cousin! Absolutely brava! This is insane, Ian muttered, pulling out his phone. I'm recording this. Serenity appeared beside him like a ninja, snatching the phone from his hands. I don't think so. Give that back. Make me. She held the phone above her head, grinning. Try it, I dare you. Mom was staring at the wedding cake like it might bite her. I don't understand. Why would you do this to us? I didn't do anything to you, Mom. I did something for me. For the first time in my life, I chose my happiness over your approval. But we could have been there, she whispered. We could have celebrated with you. Could you? Really? Or would you have spent the whole time worried about how I looked in the photos? The silence that followed was answer enough. I walked over to a small table where Patricia had placed envelopes for each guest. These are for you. Mom opened hers with shaking hands. Inside was a formal wedding announcement printed on expensive cardstock with a photo from our ceremony, and underneath that, an itemized bill for the evening's expenses. What is this? Bea demanded, waving her envelope. Your portion of tonight's costs. Since you weren't invited to the actual wedding, I thought you might like to pay for your own viewing party. The room exploded again, but this time I was smiling. You expect us to pay for this humiliation? Bee's voice pitched higher with each word. This is insane. What's insane is thinking you could treat me like garbage for 29 years and still get a front row seat to my happiness. I kept my voice level, but my hands were shaking with adrenaline. Mom stood up slowly, her face pale. Gwendolyn, we love you. We've always loved you. No, you've tolerated me. There's a difference. That's not true. Really? When was the last time you included me in a family photo without suggesting I stand in the back? When was the last time you talked about my accomplishments instead of my appearance? Mom opened and closed her mouth like a fish gasping for air. Ian was still trying to get his phone back from Serenity. This is assault. You can't just take someone's property. Watch me, Serenity said cheerfully, holding the phone higher. Maybe if you ask nicely. Give it back right now or I'm calling security. Go ahead. I'm sure they'd love to hear about how you were secretly recording a private family event. Uncle Anton stepped forward, his hotel manager persona kicking in. Now let's all calm down. Gwen, I understand you're upset, but this is quite extreme. Extreme? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. What's extreme is telling your niece she's not worthy of love unless she changes her body. What's extreme is making a woman feel like she has to apologize for existing. We never said you weren't worthy of love. Mom protested. You said I wasn't worthy of a wedding. Same thing. Kendra, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up. Well, I think this is all very dramatic and unnecessary. Families have disagreements, but this public display is just classless. The word hit like a slap. Classless. The same word they'd always used to dismiss me, to make me feel small. But I wasn't small anymore. You know what's classless, Kendra? Commenting on someone's weight at every family gathering, making jokes about portion sizes, acting like my happiness is somehow offensive to you. I never. You absolutely did. All of you did. I turned to face the whole group. You made it clear that I was the family embarrassment, the one who didn't fit your perfect image, so I stopped trying to fit. Delaney stood up and started clapping again. Good for you, Gwen. It's about damn time. Delaney, Mom snapped, don't encourage this behavior. What behavior? Standing up for herself? Finally putting you all in your place? Delaney's voice was fierce. I've watched you tear her down for years. I'm proud of her. Bee whirled on her. This is none of your business. It became my business when you made me watch you destroy my cousin's self esteem at every family event. We were trying to help her. Help her what? Hate herself? Mission accomplished. Judah moved to stand beside me, his presence solid and reassuring. I think what Gwen is trying to say is that she's done accepting cruelty disguised as concern. And who are you to lecture us about family? Ian finally gave up trying to reach his phone and turned his anger on Judah. You encouraged this. You helped her exclude her own family from her wedding. I helped her have the wedding she deserved, one where she felt beautiful and celebrated instead of criticized and judged. We would have celebrated her. Would you? Judah's voice was quiet but cutting. Because from what I've seen, your idea of celebration involves a lot of conditions and requirements. Mom was crying now, mascara streaking down her cheeks. I just wanted her to be happy. I thought if she lost weight, she'd be more confident. She's the most confident woman I know, Judah said firmly, when she's not around people who spend their time tearing her down. This is ridiculous, Bea announced. I'm leaving. Come on, Ian. Actually, you can't leave yet, I said. They all turned to stare at me. The bill needs to be settled first. Patricia? I nodded to the event coordinator, who stepped forward with a tablet. The total for this evening comes to $8,000, Patricia said professionally. Venue rental, catering, audio-visual equipment, service fees. Split 7 ways, that's roughly 1,150 each. You're joking, Uncle Anton sputtered. Do I look like I'm joking? This is extortion. No, this is consequences. You wanted a show? You got one. Now you get to pay for it. Serenity finally handed Ian his phone back. Here, but if I see any footage from tonight online, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of people you are. Are you threatening me? I'm promising you. Mom was still staring at the bill in her hands. Gwen, please, we can work this out. We can talk. We are talking. For the first time in years, we're actually talking. No more pretending, no more polite suggestions about my life choices. This is who I am. This is who I married. This is the life I chose. Without us, she whispered. You chose to exclude yourselves the moment you decided I wasn't good enough as I am. The silence stretched between us, heavy with years of unspoken hurt and resentment. Finally, Delaney broke it. For what it's worth, Gwen, that was the most beautiful wedding video I've ever seen. You looked absolutely radiant. Thank you. And Judah, welcome to the family. The good part of it, anyway. He smiled. Thank you. That means a lot. Mom looked up from her bill, tears still streaming. What do we have to do to fix this? Tell me what I have to do to fix this. I looked at her for a long moment, this woman who'd given me life but spent years making me feel like I didn't deserve to live it fully. I don't know if you can, Mom. I really don't know. The fallout started before we even left the hotel. Bea cornered me in the bathroom while I was touching up my lipstick. You think you're so clever, don't you? I think I'm finally free. Free? You just destroyed our family over a temper tantrum. I turned to face her, watching her perfect composure crack around the edges. I didn't destroy anything, Bea. I just stopped pretending it was healthy. Mom is devastated. She's been crying in the lobby for 20 minutes. Maybe she should have thought about that before telling me I wasn't worthy of a wedding. She didn't say that. She said I should wait until I was thin enough not to embarrass myself. What's the difference? Bee's reflection glared at me in the mirror. The difference is that we're family. Family forgives each other. Family also supports each other. When's the last time you supported me? She didn't answer, just stormed out, her heels clicking angrily on the marble floor. By Monday morning, the story had spread through their social circle like wildfire. Serenity showed me the screenshots from various social media posts. Look at this one from Kendra, she said, holding up her phone. Attended the most bizarre family event last night. Some people have no class when it comes to handling family disagreements. At least she's not naming names. Oh, but this one from your mom's book club friend is better. Heard about a local family drama involving secret weddings and public humiliation. So sad when children turn against their parents. I set down my coffee cup harder than necessary. They're making themselves the victims. Of course they are. That's what toxic people do. My phone buzzed with a text from Delaney. Coffee? I have updates. An hour later, we met at our usual cafe downtown. Delaney looked exhausted, her usually perfect hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. You look like hell, I said, sliding into the booth across from her. Thanks. I've been fielding phone calls all weekend. She rubbed her temples. Your mom called me 6 times yesterday. B called me 4 times. Even Uncle Anton called to ask if I knew you were planning this. What did you tell them? The truth, that you deserved better than what they gave you. She leaned forward. But Gwen, they're not just upset. They're organizing. Organizing what? A counter narrative. They're telling everyone you had a breakdown, that you're being manipulated by Judah, that this whole thing was some kind of mental health crisis. My stomach dropped. They're saying I'm crazy? B posted on Facebook about supporting family members going through difficult times and asking for prayers. She's making it sound like you're having some kind of episode. Of course she is. It gets worse. Ian's been calling around to your mom's friends, telling them you've always been unstable and that this proves it. He's trying to get people to boycott your business. I felt the blood drain from my face. My marketing consultancy was small but growing. I couldn't afford to lose clients over family drama. Has it worked? 2 clients have already called asking if you're going through something and whether they should be concerned about their projects. I put my head in my hands. This is insane. It's strategic. They're trying to isolate you, make you look like the problem so they don't have to examine their own behavior. My phone rang. Uncle Anton's name flashed on the screen. Don't answer it, Delaney said. I have to. He owns half the venues in the city. If he blacklists me, I answered on the fourth ring. Hello, Uncle Anton. Gwen. His voice was cold, professional. I think we need to talk. About what? About Saturday night. About the damage you've done to this family's reputation. I haven't damaged anything. You humiliated your mother in public. You made a spectacle of our family name. That kind of behavior has consequences. What kind of consequences? I'm removing you from all future family events, weddings, holidays, reunions. You're no longer welcome. The words hit like a physical blow. You're disowning me? I'm protecting the family from further embarrassment. Your behavior was unacceptable. My behavior? What about their behavior? What about 29 years of emotional abuse? That's a very dramatic way to describe family concern. Family concern doesn't involve telling someone they're too fat for love. No one said that. They didn't have to. It was implied in every conversation, every suggestion, every disappointed look. You're being oversensitive. There it was. The dismissal I'd heard my entire life. Oversensitive, dramatic, too much. You know what, Uncle Anton? You're right. I am sensitive. I'm sensitive to being treated like garbage by people who claim to love me, and I'm done apologizing for it. I hung up before he could respond. Delaney reached across the table and squeezed my hand. I'm proud of you. I just got excommunicated from my own family. You got excommunicated from a toxic family that never deserved you in the first place. But what if they're right? What if I went too far? Gwen, look at me. Her voice was fierce. You had a beautiful wedding with the man you love. You shared that joy with people who spent years telling you that you didn't deserve it. If that's going too far, then go further. My phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had tagged me in a post. It was a photo from our wedding, me and Judah kissing on the cliffside, the Mediterranean sparkling behind us. The caption read, sometimes the most beautiful love stories happen when you stop waiting for permission to be happy. Congratulations to the most radiant bride I've ever seen. Love wins, authentic love, Jowl beautiful in every size. The post had been shared 43 times already. Serenity? I asked. Delaney looked at her phone. Nope. This is from someone named Marco. Your photographer? I scrolled through the comments. Dozens of strangers congratulating us, calling the photos breathtaking, sharing their own stories of family rejection and finding happiness anyway. Look at this, I said, showing Delaney the screen. People are actually supporting us. Of course they are. Your story is inspiring. Or maybe people just love a good revenge plot. Maybe, but maybe they also love seeing someone choose themselves for once. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Mrs. Thomas, this is Jennifer Walsh from Channel 7 News. We'd love to talk to you about your wedding story. Would you be available for an interview? I looked at Delaney, who was grinning. I think, I said slowly, I'm just getting started. I didn't do the interview. Instead, I did something better. I wrote a blog post titled, I Had My Dream Wedding, Just Not the Dream Family. Serenity helped me craft it, sitting on my couch with her laptop while I paced around the living room, dictating my thoughts. Start with the proposal, she said. the beautiful moment before they ruined it. So I did. I wrote about Judah on one knee on that bookstore rooftop, about the ring that fit perfectly and the future that felt infinite, about calling my mother with pure joy and having it crushed within minutes. Now the wedding, Serenity prompted. I wrote about Positano, about the dress that made me feel like a goddess, about vows spoken over the Mediterranean while my real family, Judah, Serenity, even Marco the photographer, celebrated the love my blood relatives had deemed unworthy. And the revenge? I wrote about the hotel ballroom, the projection screen, the itemized bills, the look on their faces when they realized what they'd lost by choosing judgment over love. How do you want to end it? I stopped pacing and looked at my wedding photos on the mantel, me and Judah laughing, dancing, feeding each other cake under the Italian sun. With the truth, the post went viral within hours. Shares, comments, messages from strangers around the world who'd experienced similar family rejection. Women who'd been told they weren't thin enough, pretty enough, successful enough to deserve love. People who'd chosen themselves over toxic families and found peace in that choice. But the message that mattered most came 3 days later. I was working in my home office when my phone buzzed with a voicemail from Mom. I almost deleted it without listening, but something made me press play. Gwen, it's me. I read your blog post, the whole thing, twice. Her voice was shaky, uncertain. I never realized. I mean, I thought I was helping. I thought if you just. But I see now that I was wrong. So wrong. She paused, and I could hear her crying. I don't know if you can forgive me. I don't know if I deserve forgiveness. But I want you to know that I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the woman you've become, the life you've built, the love you've found. You looked so beautiful in those wedding photos. So happy. And I'm sorry, so sorry, that I almost made you believe you didn't deserve that happiness. Another pause. I love you, Gwen, not the version of you I thought I wanted, but you, exactly as you are. I hope someday you can believe that. The voicemail ended. I sat staring at my phone, tears blurring my vision. Judah appeared in the doorway. Everything okay? My mom called. He sat down beside me. And? She apologized. Actually apologized. How do you feel about that? I wiped my eyes. Confused. Angry. Hopeful. Terrified. All at once? All at once. My phone rang. Mom's name on the screen. I looked at Judah. He squeezed my hand. Your choice, I answered. Hi, Mom. Gwen. Her voice was soft, tentative. Did you get my message? I did. I meant every word. I know I have no right to ask, but could we maybe talk in person? I want to try to make this right. I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of 29 years of hurt and hope warring in my chest. I don't know if you can make it right, Mom. I know, but I want to try. Please. What about the others? B, Uncle Anton, the whole protecting the family reputation thing. I don't care about them right now. I care about you, about us, about whether there's any chance I can earn back your trust. I looked at Judah, who nodded encouragingly. One conversation, I said finally. Coffee, public place, and if you say one word about my weight, my appearance, or what I should or shouldn't do with my life, I'm walking away. Deal. Thank you, Gwen. Thank you for giving me a chance. We hung up, and I sat in the quiet of my office, surrounded by photos of my real life, my marriage, my friends, my success. Judah pulled me close. Proud of you. For what? For choosing hope over hurt, for being brave enough to try. What if she disappoints me again? Then you'll handle it. You're stronger now. He was right. I was stronger, strong enough to set boundaries, strong enough to demand respect, strong enough to walk away if I didn't get it, but also strong enough to try. My phone buzzed with another notification, another share of my blog post, another comment from someone who'd found courage in my story. I smiled, remembering that moment in Positano when I'd thrown my bouquet into the sky and spoken directly to the camera, to all the people who'd said this day wouldn't come. They'd been wrong about so many things, but mostly they'd been wrong about me. I wasn't lighter, my body hadn't changed at all. But standing there in my home office, surrounded by evidence of a life lived on my own terms, I'd never felt so weightless. Ready for whatever comes next? Judah asked. I looked at my wedding ring, catching the afternoon light streaming through the window. More than ready.